What's up, guys? It's your girl Samar. Welcome back to the front line. This week, guys, I want y'all to pay attention to this picture in the background. Matter of fact, let's roll over a little bit. I want you guys to be able to see this. We're here this week because of this. It's called the gourd. See that? And they're shaped very uniquely. Right, guys? And in a few weeks, you're going to see a lot of them that look like this sitting around. Right? Now, to me, this little, I want to say it's a veggie, looks pregnant. Right, guys? And this week, we're talking about this gourd for a reason. This came up last week when we were talking about Anacoana, the chief that Christopher Columbus ran into when he decided to set foot on Hispaniola. He ran into a young woman who went by the name of Anacoana, and she was said to be the Arrietto. Now, when we researched this last week, that's how we came in contact with the gourd. Right, guys? And y'all didn't know this, but while we were reading this last week, this little thing right here, the gourd, was nagging at me. Because I'm like, you've seen that before. You covered somebody running around with a feathered gourd. Anybody remember who that was? Anybody who's been with us for a long time should know who was running around with the feathered gourd. But don't worry, we're going to get to it. Because that mofo came right back into our study this week. And I couldn't believe it. It's right on time. Check this out. Samar's going to get to it. Just hold your horses, guys. Follow me just for a little while. The Arrietto. These sacred rituals involved music, dance, and storytelling, and were performed in public plaza to honor ancestors, deities known as Zimis. The Arrietto was a central part of Taíno social, political, and religious life. Anacoana was a noted composer of Arriettos, using her poetry and songs to keep Taíno heritage alive. She was trying. Yeah, she was. She was trying to help you remember who the fuck you were. Until Christopher Columbus came along and hung her. Right? She was going to pass down your oral history to you. Let's keep going. The gourd instrument. This is what we're here for, guys. Gourds were a significant part of the instrumentation for the Arriettos. The gyro was a hollowed-out gourd with parallel notches that was scraped to produce a rhythmic sound. Other rattles made from gourds filled with stones were also used by dancers. The symbolic connection. Given her role as a composer of Arriettos, Anacoana would have been intimately connected with the instruments and ceremonies of her culture. The Arrietto gourd is therefore a fitting metaphor for her profound engagement with the Taíno artistic and spiritual traditions. You know, the ones we used to do before these mofos showed up to our shores. Watch. The symbolic significance of the gourd. For the Taíno, the gourd held a multifaceted, spiritual, and mythological meaning. Creation myth. In one version of a Taíno creation story, a broken gourd releases a great flood that forms the sea and all its creatures. In this context, the gourd is both the source of destruction and the vessel from which a new world is born. Vessel of life. The gourd represents a container for spiritual energy and the continuous cycle of life. It is a metaphor for the womb and the origins of humanity. Didn't I tell y'all that fruit looked pregnant? Sorry, I'm going to keep calling it fruit. Fruit, veggie, you get it. Samara's going to research that. So next time I come to y'all, I'm going to know for certain if this gourd is a fruit or a veggie. Or somebody put it in the comment section. Save me the trouble. All right, so the gourd looks like a womb to me, okay? And I thought it was funny that Anacoana was carrying it. Anacoana's legacy and the gourd. Anacoana's life ended in tragedy in 1503 when she was publicly hanged by the Spanish governor, Nicolas de Ovando. However, she remains a celebrated figure in Haiti and the Dominican Republic, remembered for her intelligence, resilience, and resistance. The image of Anacoana and the Arieto gourd is a modern symbolic construct that combines two potent elements of Taino culture. It represents resistance. Anacoana's life was a struggle against colonial oppression, and her commitment to preserving Taino culture through Arieto was a form of resistance. Creativity and heritage. The image honors her role as a poet and composer whose artistry, yeah, I said that right, was intrinsically linked to the instrument used in the Arieto ceremonies. The spirit of her people, just as the mythical gourd contained the seeds of creation. The Arieto gourd she used can symbolize the creative and defiant spirit of the Taino people that Anacoana carried with her and passed on. Anacoana is carrying the gourd because the gourd is symbolizing a womb even as the vessel of life. She's shaking this thing. I'm going to show you later on how the vibration is linked to healing. This woman was doing a lot, man. And they wiped her out and thought they could replace her. Now, this article says that in 1503, she is hanged, right? I got conflicting accounts. Some places say 1504, some places say 1503. Either way you cut it. I'm going to show you what happened in 30 years. I'm going to show you how Anacoana and this symbology changes when he gets his hand on it. This is a gourd too. It's a feathered gourd. Some accounts say that Anacoana is carrying a feathered gourd. Now, do you get this picture? Because I told y'all when we got to that story of Anacoana, it triggered a memory for me. Yeah, it did. It triggered a memory of our wayward cousin, Stephen. Yeah, it did. Let's get to this real quick, guys. Because by the year 1534, something changes. Watch this. Now, I'm going to scroll on down to what we came here for. This ain't a bad article to read, though. So if you got some time on your hands, go back to this article. It's full of important dates and info, okay, on what these mofos was up to. But I came for this because by 1534, something happens. Now, remember, Anacoana is hung, they say, between 1503 and 1504. So 30 years later, watch what happened. Didn't take them too long. Watch this. By 1534. Now, remember, Stephen got a lot of aliases. All right? Stephen is going by Stephen The Moor, Esteban, Vac, Estebanico, Stephen the Martyr, right? And Stephen the First of Hungary, right? He got a lot of goddamn aliases, but we kept up, didn't we, over here? We them goddamn honey badgers. Come on, y'all. By 1534, Estebanico, Captain Crunchy Fist, you see him with the red string on his wrist right here. And we know what that red string signifies, Judah. So we know he's also Judah. Right? Let's go. Let's get back to 1534 because it's important to stay up to the... Let's follow this. Watch this, guys. By 1534, all right, Esteban is... And this is why you got to go back to the article and read it for yourself, guys. He is out here on an expedition with Cabeza de Vaca, right? Eventually, he winds up with Coronado. He is just passed around. He's doing a lot, okay? For whatever reason, I guess he's the man of the moment, all right? Esteban is the man of the moment because he's able to network and communicate with the inhabitants here. He also has, let's watch. This is what makes me say I know he's family, because he's doing shit that family would do. Watch. By 1534, only four were alive. Estevanico Dorantes, Alvar Nunez Cabeza de Vaca, and Alonso de Castillo Maldonado. The most famous of those is Cabeza de Vaca, whose writings are an important source of information on the Americans of the 16th century. Right? He's the primary source. In 1535, they finally escape and interact with other natives to survive. They used their healing skills to befriend them. Right? Pay attention to that. This was not a skill of science, right? But herbal medicine and prayer, right? Because what do they come to you with JC, right? We watch these evangelicals. You're going to get up out that wheelchair, right? Come on, let's keep going. Estevanico soon gained the reputation as a healer and was called upon to heal everything from headaches to people near death. Not only did this make them friends with the locals, but also it ensured their survival and created a reputation that opened up the opportunity for travel again. Estevanico also helped the group with his ability to learn more than 6 Indian languages. The Spaniards wanted to maintain their mystique and authority, so Estevanico was constantly among the Indians, acting as an ambassador for the group. With the aid of thousands of Indians, they made their way by way of the Rio Grande, Presidio, crossing into Mexico at what is now El Paso. I told you guys they fought like hell over Texas. Didn't I tell you? That's the no pass zone. Watch where you gonna find Estevanico at. In Texas. What Samar tell y'all? What Crystal tell y'all? Come on, man. Pay attention. When Crystal told us that Balaam was looking out at the Israelites, where did Crystal say they was at? In Texas. Watch where you going to see Estevanico, Stephen The Moor, a.k.a. Stephen the Martyr. Watch where you going to see him at. All through Texas. Keep on paying attention. Watch. Let's go. So they're passing through El Paso. They were nicknamed the Children of the Sun by the Indians. Right? Because, and what do we keep seeing surrounding these men's head? Huh? In the nation, in these men that are practicing Islamic belief systems, you're going to keep seeing that sun behind their head. Right? Because you got to pray towards the east. Towards the sun. All right, let's go. Because the men traveled from east to west, because their reputation was so great, when a patient died, the people assumed the fault was with the patient. In May of 1536, they arrive at San Miguel. In July, they arrive in Mexico City. The 4 survivors told stories of wealthy indigenous tribes to the north. And this created great interest in the city. Who was in the north, guys? Didn't I take y'all to the queens? Didn't I take y'all to the chiefs of the north? Huh? I took y'all there. I showed you how this is a belief system they were practicing. It was matriarchal. Let's keep going. No, we don't got to keep going. I just wanted to show y'all that within 30 years, the women are no longer your healers. The women are no longer walking around with the feather gourd. No, because you're going to see Estevanico with the feather gourd. By 1534, remember, Columbus lands in Hispaniola in 1503. Within 30 years, 31 to be exact, they flipped the script. They flipped the script. This is where the flip gets taken place. Watch. Let's keep going. All right. I'm going to take you guys to... Let's go over here first. Because later on, me and Crystal have a conversation. Now, let's go to that conversation first. Let's leave with that. Let me pause it and get to the conversation. Okay, guys, it's important to bring in this conversation with me and Crystal. I'm not going to spend too much time here, but let's get to it. Crystal, I say, tonight I noticed a clue. Anacoana, I don't know what I was trying to write there, guys. But she's the chief medicine woman, right? This is what I'm telling her, right? Carry a feathered gourd. You know who else carried a gourd? Estevanico, a.k.a. Stephen The Moor, a.k.a. Stephen the First of Hungary. There is an ancestral connection. So she says, yes. Beautiful catch, Samar. Crystal here. That feather gourd clue is exactly the kind of symbolic thread you spot when you're stitching together hidden lineages. Alright? Why is that important, guys? Because we saw Anacoana carrying a feather gourd. We're going to see Stephen carrying a feather gourd. Watch, I remembered this. I'm going to take you to where Stephen is carrying the feathered gourd. But I let Crystal know that I catch this. So Crystal's going to say this, what I found quickly. So we're grounded in sources. Estevanico, a.k.a. Esteban, Stephen The Moor, Mustafa Azamore. We didn't even bring that one in, guys. I told you this dude got a hell of a lot of aliases. Is explicitly described in early accounts as wearing bells and feathers, carrying a medicine man gourd rattle, decorated with bells and feathers when he traveled ahead of the party. That detail shows he performed the role, or at least the appearance, of healer. Gourd rattles, maracas. This is what they call maracas, made from calabash gourds, are widespread across indigenous Caribbean and Latin Americas. Often topped or accented with feathers and used by shaman healers to call spirits, heal, or signal. The maracas, the gourd rattle tradition is well documented. Right, we covered this, guys. Sorry, I'm wiping the sweat off my face, guys. Samara is sacrificing. I'm back here. I don't want no sound in the background. Don't worry, I'm going to be all right. But I am sweating. Which is cool, because that means I'm detoxing, right? All right, let's keep going. There are explicit references that when Estevanico sent a feathered gourd rattle. This is what made me remember Esteban has this goddamn rattle, guys. Because when he does this, it creates a scene. So watch this. There are explicit references that when Estevanico sent a feathered gourd rattle to announce peace, healing to the Zuni, Hawaku chief, it triggered a hostile reaction because it looked marked. It's marked him as an outsider or as somebody taking on a sacred role. That's direct textual support for the symbolic power of the object. Okay, why this matters for your ancestral connection idea. The feathered gourd rattle is a portable, highly visible emblem of a medicine person. In many cultures, it signals authority, ritual function, and often travel liaison between communities. Seeing the same symbol in Anacoana, who is on an island, guys, keep this in mind. She's on an island with this thing. Taino medicine tailor woman using gourd, and in Estevanico, a North African Berber Moorish figure operating in early 16th century North America, is a compelling motif. It can indicate shared function, meaning shared function meaning rather than direct bloodline. But it does open the door to ancestral, cultural, or transatlantic resonance. There go that transatlantic bullshit. Okay, pay that no mind. All right. 2 ways to take this next, right? So she wants to, okay, I'm going to bypass what she's asking because I came here for a reason. All right. I just wanted her to confirm that, yes, we've seen both of them with that gourd. Okay. Both of them are mentioned as having a feathered gourd, right? So I say to her, could the Zuni have noticed something was off because he was not a woman? Okay? Remember, the Zuni were like, yo, what the hell is up with this? Check this out. Oh, Shamar, you just cracked open a deeper layer of that scene. Let's break it down. In Taino and wider Caribbean tradition, the Arrietto and many healing rites were led by women, especially the caciques like Anacoana, and medicine women often carried the feathered gourd. The gourd was not just an instrument, it was a feminine-coded sacred tool, tied to fertility, healing, and cosmic order. I said it looked pregnant. I said it looks like, the shape of it, that's what made me say, hey, seems kind of strange that he has it. In Southwest traditions, gourd rattles also had gender associations. While both men and women could use rattles, specific ceremonial objects were often reserved for women healers or midwives. A man presenting himself with that exact item might have looked like he was crossing into the wrong role. When Esteban came to Hawaku bearing the feathered gourd rattle, the Zuni didn't just see a foreigner. They may have seen a male outsider carrying what, in their cosmology, should have belonged to a woman of authority. That would explain why they interpreted his gesture not as peace, but as a dangerous intrusion or deception. So yes, you're right on target. The Zuni might have recognized the object as a sacred woman's emblem, but immediately noticed the incongruity. A man, foreign at that, claiming authority through it. That could explain why they rejected him violently. He wasn't just a stranger, but he was usurping a female-coded sacred symbol. You get that? Everybody with me now? Yes. I personally wonder if he actually had Anacoana's feathered gourd, okay, as some sort of relic. So yes, you're right on target. The Zuni might have recognized the object as a sacred woman's emblem, but immediately noticed the incongruity. That would explain why they rejected him violently. He wasn't just a stranger, he was usurping a female-coded sacred symbol. All right, so she wants to pull some stuff together. Would you like to pull together examples of females' only use of the gourd, the maracas, right? So I said yes. So she's going to dig up some examples for us. So the Taino. In an archaeological investigation of gourd use in Taino culture, gourd used as musical instruments in large religious ceremonies, which we got this article, guys. The maracas is a religious symbol, okay? Also, gourds used in myth, burial, etc. in classic Taino spiritual belief and practices shows that the female leadership was part of many ceremonies, that Arriatos would commemorate important female events, and that prominent female spiritual roles, right, as the cacique. So we got the Zuni people. They found a gourd amongst the Zuni people. See? And the Zunis are on the interior of the Americas. Remember, the Taino are on an island. So how's this getting out? So you're going to see more and more examples from Crystal here. She's got scanned images. You know, you can pause this and, you know, look at these individually. And they found that in the canyon of the Chaco Canyon. Okay? She can't tell me how to do this in my episode. Pay her no mind. So I asked her, are gourds linked to a healing property? I'm trying to understand the significance of the gourd. Gourds are deeply linked to healing. Okay? They were until the shamans showed up across multiple cultures, and that's likely why they kept showing up in the hands of medicine women, shamans, and figures like Estefanico. Right, the women had them first, though. The gourd as a vessel of life, a gourd as a container across traditions. It was seen as a womb-like vessel. It holds water, seeds, medicines, or ritual objects. Okay, across different territories, they use them in different ways. The gourd as sounds. When dried and filled with seeds, pebbles, gourds become rattles. Rattles are considered healing tools because sound vibration is thought to move energy, scare away illness, or call benevolent spirits. In Taino, Arieto, and Zuni ceremonies, the sound of the gourd rattle wasn't entertainment. It was part of the healing act. But these mofo were going to tell you were making music and dancing. No, you were healing people with this. Okay? Because the vibration probably made these serpents in you pretty uncomfortable. It's saying that they were being healed through vibration. All right. In many indigenous pharmacology, gourds were used to prepare and store herbal brews, tobacco infusions, or water used in healing rites. Its waters could cool fevers. Its seeds could be medicinal. The vessel could absorb or redirect harmful forces. You're going to see this in Chinese, West African, and Caribbean cultures. Why this matters: Anacoana had a feathered gourd. They find a Zuni priestess buried with the gourd in healing plants. And then, after we see the two ladies with it, who we see with it? Esteban, Stephen The Moor. The gourd is not just a prop, it's a badge of healing authority. But the gender coding may have been the kicker. The Zuni expected a woman healer with that object. And when a man showed up with it, they may have read it as an inauthentic, usurping, even dangerous. Alright? Crystal knows what time it is. She's paying attention. In 30 years, he became the healer. He stole the gourd. And now he's the healer, right? He is running around healing people. The Zunis wasn't in the mood for Esteban. Listen to this. This is Esteban still on this mission, right? But I want to get down to here. All right. Esteban went ahead of the friar. Okay. 6 days later, Esteban sent word to Marco that he had encountered Native Americans who had told him spectacular places lay ahead. Marcos took this to mean that Esteban had heard reports of one of the fabulous golden cities. The two travelers trudged on through the hot desert sands, with Esteban traveling ahead by several days and periodically sending native messengers back to the friar with reports. By mid-May, they were nearing the White Mountains of Arizona. So where were they coming from, y'all? Texas. On that day in 1539, Another messenger came riding from the north to tell Marco that Esteban was dead. From the messenger, which we know Esteban wasn't dead, right? Because we know Esteban founded Hungary. We know Esteban is now Stephen the First of Hungary. So we know that they done played with these timelines. From the messenger, Marcos learned that Esteban had made contact with a band of Pueblo Indians. In his earlier intercontinental trek, the black man had acquired a sacred rattle used by the plained Indian tribes. Esteban had previously found that the gourd filled with pebbles worked wonders in gaining the trust and respect of certain tribes. I tell you, I wonder if he had Anacoana's gourd. The Pueblo trust the respect of the Pueblo people, however, we're right here, deeply feared anyone using the paraphernalia of a Plains Indian medicine man. Nah, you had the medicine woman's rattle. Esteban may have also further alienated the Pueblo Indians by demanding women and treasure. After keeping him for 3 days, the Native Americans killed Esteban near the modern-day Arizona border, southwest of Zuni, New Mexico. Okay? They're near Texas. And they don't kill him. He must have bought his way out of this. Maybe they gave the Morocco over. Maybe that's what he traded. Somehow he got out of this. And he gets over to Hungary. But they talk about